Hey guys, so last night I was relaxing, having dinner, and started a trail of strange thoughts about all the times I'd ruined my skin. And I thought, oh, I should make a video about it because you know what? Some people might be able to learn something and not make the same mistake I did. So these are 9 ways I've destroyed my skin, how and what I should have done differently. So the first I'm going to start out with is a severe sunburn. And they say even just one really bad sunburn may increase your chances of getting skin cancer hugely. So you don't want to experience a sunburn at all if you can help it. And I will say I was dumb. I was 16 years old. It was right before my 17th birthday, and I went to Sanibel Island, Florida with my brother on a vacation. And he had went there lots of times throughout the years. And so I tagged along this time. And me being from Minnesota, this was in March. It was literally right before my birthday. I got back, I think, the day before my birthday. And I was arrogant, and I thought, I don't need sunscreen. I just want to get a tan. So when you're 16, you do dumb things like that. And literally, I burnt so severely. I'll have to see if I can find the pictures. I had bleach blonde hair, and my face was red as a tomato, bleeding, peeling, and even, you probably can't tell it now, but I even burnt off a little part of my eyebrow. And I think the microblading or the powder brow thing I had done fixed it a lot, so it's not as noticeable. But I mean, for a long time, there was like just a patch of my eyebrow missing, and it probably still really is if you dig down into it. So what could I have done differently? Obviously, use sunscreen, duh. And I've always been very pale and fair skinned. And that sun in Florida in March, when you're at the beach, really bad. So don't do that. That's why I always tell everyone to use sunscreen, especially the younger people. Because the fairer you are, the more likely you are to get burned. And a really bad burn sometimes can be very strong and really damaging. So next up, this was a mistake. Early into skincare, I was trying out retinoids and vitamin A and different adapalene without really knowing a whole ton about them. And my brilliant idea was to go get, again, my eyebrows waxed, which what the F was I thinking? I have no friggin' idea. But literally, when she pulled the strips off, not only did all my eyebrow hair come off, my skin came off too. And it was like bleeding and blistering, and that one took a while to heal as well. So my poor eyebrows, they've been through a lot. Those poor little eyebrows, man, they've really suffered because of my stupidity. And yeah, so if you're on retinoids, vitamin A, be very careful. Don't wax, because you won't regret it. Unless, for some reason, I think typically if you go get a wax at a company that's very reputable, they will say stop using retinoids for, I think, 2 weeks or maybe even more. So that was my mistake. It's on me, and I paid for it. Yeah, a lot. Next up, this was stupid. So I tried dermaplaning myself. So dermaplaning, you know, when you take a fine laser and you can trim around the eyebrow area again, eyebrows, and trim off like Bella's facial hair. And I can say I thought I was so smart. So I bought online one of these like safety razors, sterile disposable razors. And man, did I slice the heck of my face off. Let me see if I can get this open and you can see how big the blade is and how sharp it is. Yeah, that was dumb. Go to a professional. Yeah, here's that. I mean, come on. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not that coordinated to begin with. And then you put something like this next to my face, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna cut my whole face off. So a lot of bleeding involved in bad skincare decisions. So from now on, I don't use that. I actually use something else. Let me grab it. I've got it right here. So now whenever I do my eyebrow area, I use this little tool. I think it's called from a company called Koi, About Face, and you just put the little blade on, and yeah, so this one's much safer than this. So if you don't want to destroy your skin, or maybe you know what you're doing better than I do, because obviously I didn't know what I was doing that day, so there you go. And you know what, people that are trained in it, they have techniques and things that they use, so they're experienced. They could probably make something like this work, but I can't. Next up, testing the oil cleansing method. This was not that long ago, maybe a couple years ago. Everyone was raving about the oil cleansing method, which is when you take a cleansing oil, something like this, on clean skin, so you're not actually cleansing. You're putting a ton of facial oil, and sometimes people will mix it with another oil like jojoba oil or rosehip oil, or typically it's thicker oils. And then on clean skin, they will massage it over their skin for 10 to 15 minutes until you feel the oil pull all of your pore debris out of your pores. And sometimes you'll feel like little grits and things. It actually is very satisfying, I will say. However, my skin wasn't very satisfied the day after because my skin was just irritated and breaking out and just friggin' angry at me for doing that. So, yeah, so it was very satisfying at the time. However, my skin didn't agree. Some people have really good luck with it. Nothing wrong with that. If you like it and it works for you, go for it. For some reason, my skin just was not happy with that. So I will not do that one again. Okay, so this is another one. This was actually like in the last year or so, even less. So there's this Dermaflash Pore spatula. This is the second type of device like this I've had. The first one worked terribly, and I talked about it in a video and so many people said, no, you've got to be doing it wrong, or maybe it's just the device. Try it again, because so many people had great luck with it. So what do I go do? A few years later, I go and buy this on sale, because it was on sale, so I got a deal on it. And then I got carried away. So you need to use this. It vibrates. Let me turn it on. It vibrates, and then on damp skin, you can clean your pores. My issue with it was the cleansing part of it, cleaning my pores out. I just went too nuts with it, too much pressure, and I broke skin, mostly on my nose area, where it was red and patchy and dry and blistering and flaking and peeling for several days afterwards. So that was my mistake. In my opinion, people have success with these types of devices, but I think it's more likely than not you'll accidentally at some point get carried away with it and do damage to your skin and your skin barrier. When your skin's cut, you're more likely to get infections and other issues. So yeah, so I haven't really used it much since that day because I don't trust myself to not use too much pressure. My pores aren't really that bad. So I think if my pores were bigger, maybe it would be more effective and more efficient and it'd be more satisfying, but I just didn't get the satisfaction from it. So I went out of control with it. So, okay, next up. So this was an interesting one. When I first was getting into reviews, I was reviewing a lot of different sunscreens, and I was testing this Lancome sunscreen. It came in a purple bottle. I think it was like $110. And that sunscreen, I was determined to review it. And at that time, typically now with sunscreens, I'll test them for 2 to 3 weeks before I review them. Back then, I was doing a month. So every morning, I was putting this sunscreen on that just irritated my skin, burnt it. It had chemical filters in it. It had tons of denatured alcohol, and it had tons of fragrance in it. And that was just a recipe for disaster. Those 3 things with very sensitive skin is not a good thing. So you got the fragrance, lots of it, chemical filters, and denatured alcohol. And my skin, after, I don't think I could make it to even the 30 days. I don't think I could make it 2 weeks using that one. But I kept trying it. My skin kept getting worse every morning. Every morning it was worse and worse and worse and worse. And I was starting to figure out, is this product? And I kept thinking, I want to be able to review it. I spent $110 on it. If I can't test it for a few weeks or a month, I can't even review it. So then I've wasted $110. I put my skin through HE double hockey sticks, and I have no review. So there we go. And I reviewed it. And my skin was so happy to never use that again. Okay, next up, this is an interesting one. So we went to Australia, and I had these little mini bottles of all these different products. I had a mini bottle of the Pure Thomas Roth Water Drench Cleanser, Cloud Cleanser, and a mini bottle of the Pure Thomas Roth Water Drench Cloud Moisturizer that looked identical. So we get into Australia. I actually had a headache that day, or I think it was almost a migraine. I've been traveling for all these hours, and what do I do that night? Yeah, I switched the two. So, and I didn't even realize until the next morning. I was smearing this on. I was so tired. I'm like, I just got to get something on my face so it feels hydrated after being in the air and traveling, all that. And then I wake up the next morning, my skin's pretty itchy. Not terribly so. Not as bad as you would think, mixing up the two and leaving a cleanser on your skin for 12 hours or whatever. But it wasn't a great experience. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. And that was another one. These are all my fault, all of these. So that one, another one, totally my fault. Made the mistake. Look at them more closely next time, and maybe don't make 2 bottles that look identical. I mean, it's not the brand's fault, it's my fault. I screwed them up. My skin was pretty angry for a while afterwards. So, Okay, two more. One product I ended up switching out was a shampoo and conditioner. I love Moroccan oil, but I was trying this brand called Oblifica, which I absolutely loved. It smelled, I'm super sensitive to fragrance, but the smell of it was wonderful. My nose could handle it. My hair never felt better. I really, really loved this brand. They sold it at Ulta, I believe. And yeah, so starting to test it out. A week into it, you know what? Things are just not feeling like they normally do on my back. I was starting to get breakouts and issues with acne and things in places I've never experienced it before. And I'm very specific how I cleanse in the shower. I get in the shower, I wash my hair, I put conditioner on, rinse those out, rinse the shampoo, then rinse the conditioner out. And then I cleanse, because you want to do it in that fashion. You don't want to do your hair after you cleanse your body because residue gets left over. Even when you do it the proper way, you know what? Something in that conditioner of that brand just clogged my pores, and it was not fun at all. And it took me even longer to figure out exactly what was happening. It took a couple weeks before I realized it's my shampoo. Even though I'm washing my body after I rinse it out, somehow that oil and debris is still in there from that shampoo or residue or something, or the conditioner. I mean, conditioner is meant to rinse out, but I think it's meant to coat your strands too, so it doesn't like really rinse out. So that was an interesting experience. And I loved that stuff so much. It smelled so good and it felt so nice. And I finally realized that's what was causing. I had to give it away, which was sad because I really liked it, but I like not having a rash on my back more. So, and then last but not least, this is one, number 9, that has left a lasting impression on my face, probably for the rest of my life. So before I was really getting into skincare, if I was going to be out in the sun a lot, I'd put sunscreen on, but I was never very good about it or very religious about it. I mean, go back to time number 1 at Sandbell Island, thinking I didn't need sunscreen. So, and I was always getting really hot. So we'd travel to some places that were like super hot in the summer. And so one of my friends that sold those little oil things from those MLMs, like, what is it, Young Life or something, Young Living or, you know what I mean? They sell these oils, Yankee or I don't know, whatever. They sell the oil. And she said, to cool down, you just mix a little bit of peppermint oil and water, and you can spray yourself as you go. You know, if you're hot and you're walking around, just spray yourself. And it was really cooling. However, that cooling was really just irritation, and especially in the sun without sunscreen. Peppermint oil, it's very reactive with the sun. So it's getting a lot of photo damage, and my melasma is already bad enough. You can't see it as much when I put foundation on, but anytime I rinse the makeup off, it's pretty noticeable and probably be there for the rest of my life. I've done a lot of things to treat it, and it's a lot better than it was 10 years ago, but I think the peppermint oil certainly had an effect on this, and I don't think my melasma or hyperpigmentation would have gotten as bad if I didn't use that peppermint, because I was using it for a few months, and then suddenly, after a few months in this heat in the summer, I started noticing, man, I'm really, really, really getting hyperpigmentation. I even almost have a mustache almost, like in melasma. And so I think the combination of the melasma, which isn't totally studied, and then the peppermint oil, it's a combination of hyperpigmentation, melasma, photo damage, sun damage. And yeah, so peppermint oil, not good. Typically, when a product says cooling, it's probably not going to be a good thing. Cooling, I associate with oils, mint oils, things like that, or menthol. So anyway, those are some ways I ruined my skin at least 9 times. I'm still alive. I'm still here. My skin is still looking okay because now what I've done is use sunscreen every day and take care of myself in a pretty gentle routine. So I'm curious if any of you have done the same stupid things I have or different stupid things. I'm curious. I'm sure somebody has done at least something dumb that they didn't need to do but chose to do because they didn't really know. Leave a comment. Love hearing from you guys, and stay tuned for more tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.